Here on NDTV, we are awaiting clarity from the ICC. I think we have. Okay, we've got. We have our sports editor Vimal with us. We also have Boria Majumdar, our consulting editor, with us. Vimal, very quickly to you. Any official information coming out from the ICC so far on these reports from the PTI about punitive action against Surya Kumar Yadav? We are attributing it only to them. What are we hearing, Vimal?
See, Boria is standing with me. We are standing in front of the Dubai International Stadium, and ICC categorically called me to say that these all are patangbazi. They don't know the accurate, the exact kind of punishment. But Boria, what do you hear of this Surya thing and Haris Rauf thing?
What I hear is they will be both fined. They have been both fined, but there is no official release yet.
That's what we are saying.
There is no official release yet, so don't jump the gun on that. But from what I hear is Surya will be fined or has been fined, can be fined. Haris Rauf has been fined, and Sahibzada Farhan will also be warned. I was told yesterday by people in the know and a section here who were part of it that it was a routine hearing. I also heard that Surya presented his case very, very strongly, saying he has every right to dedicate it to the armed forces. He is very much within his rights to respect the armed forces and respect the victims of Pahalgam. My question is somewhat different. My question is, if Surya is fined, for a second take it that Surya Kumar Yadav is fined. For a second take it that Haris Rauf is fined. For a second take it that Sahibzada Farhan has been pulled up and reprimanded. Taken, point taken. My point is, why have you pulled them up? For provocation, for incitement, all of that, right? Why is Mohsin Naqvi not being pulled up?
Correct.
Why is Mohsin Naqvi, who has by the way tweeted again today? I don't think you guys can see the tweet in India because accounts are banned, but Mohsin Naqvi has again provoked and incited the people today. He is the president of the ACC. What about responsibility? Mohsin Naqvi people, day after tomorrow when fans will be here, thousands of fans, who will take responsibility?
And that will be dangerous.
Of course it will be dangerous. I've told Vimal also that be safe, be secure. Fans of both teams retaliate. If Surya is fined, if Sahibzada is demanded, and if Haris Rauf is fined, but does Mohsin Naqvi, the president of the go scot-free? I want an answer from that. Suo moto action, pull him up. Does this mean that leaders in position of authority or responsibility don't have responsibility? Is he above law? Is he beyond everybody? Is Mohsin Naqvi not capable of the same offense? That is the question to me.
And he's continuously teasing. दोबारा आज किया. पहले उन्होंने Cristiano Ronaldo का meme. You are not supposed to do that. You are chairman, you are ACC chairman, you are organizing the tournament. You cannot do these things like this inside people, inside masses, inside your own players. He goes to the ground during the practice as an interior minister, as a PCB chairman, as a ACC chairman. You cannot do that.
Vimal, 1 second. He can do whatever he wants with his players. He is putting it out in a public domain. On the X handle, from his official handle, he is putting these things out. Today also he has done it, and look at the timing. The timing is the moment that day when India was winning, he put it out. Today, India match day, he puts it out. Is he trying to get under Indian skin and throw Indians off gear? That's not working. But the fact of the matter is, does he think he's above law? Does he think he's be all and end all of everything? He's put it out again. If Vimal Mohan checks his X handle, he will find out. This is the issue. If Surya is pulled up, if Haris Rauf is pulled up and fined, you have accepted the gestures are wrong. Mohsin Naqvi is doing the same gesture, repeatedly doing the same mistake, repeatedly inciting, repeatedly provocating. And that is my problem, that how can someone who's the president of the ACC get away with this?
And is always sounding like a habitual offender. Not only in this tournament, even before, while scheduling and all, he's always been a habitual offender. I think ICC must take note of it and do something about him.
Is the ICC able to take note of what Mohsin Naqvi is doing? Or is there ambit only to see what is happening, by cricketers on the field and during the match? Can they take action against Mohsin Naqvi? I agree with you. They should be doing it because this looks like hypocrisy and selectivity. Can they take action, Boria and Vimal?
Why not? They should. Boria, it's been asked. Yes, it's been asked. Can ICC take any kind of action against Mohsin Naqvi?
100%. He's the chairman of the PCB. PCB is responsible to the ICC. The ICC is the mother body. You mean to say today, if a government minister acts with with indiscretion, you mean to say the Prime Minister or the Home Minister or somebody senior in the cabinet cannot take action? Has it ever been possible? Today, Vimal is in breach of a regulation that NDTV has put in place. Do you think his seniors can't take action? Is anybody in this world above
Nobody
law?
is above the law. Nobody is above the law.
Of course he's not. I mean, 100% as responsible PCB official, he is answerable to ICC. PCB is a body that is affiliated to the ICC. Of course he's answerable. Of course he can be pulled up. Look, you must understand. You must understand the timing. You must also understand this guy has done it twice. Day before yesterday, soon after India won, today 3 hours back. This is deliberate provocation.
Yeah.
This is a deliberate act of incitement. 2 days later, the final is supposed to happen in the same very stadium. There is enormous tension. It's a flashpoint between fans, 25,000 people. If something untoward and unpleasant happens, who take responsibility, tell me? Will Mr. Naqvi will anything happen to him? No. He will have all his security guards and bodyguards and everything. What about the common man? What about the common fan? Who takes responsibility for the common fan? Who takes responsibility for these actions?
The fans from both sides seems to be agitated. They shout at each other. In fact, the security.
तुम देखे थे मेरे शो में आ गए थे आके मिडिल फिंगर दिखा रहे थे. I mean, we tried to calm them down. A group of Pakistan fans came and started showing middle finger on my show. I did not react. To how long will you think Indian fans and Pakistani fans will not react? Somebody will say something, some incitement will happen.
And somebody from the chair is inciting is not appropriate. I mean, not at all appropriate. And he's been doing again and again.
Exactly the point.
You know, this entire episode, Boria and Vimal, has whipped up emotions, sentiments to a fever pitch ahead of that big final that takes place between India and Pakistan on Sunday. The Press Trust of India is reporting that the BCCI has appealed this action by the ICC. We don't know the details, like you rightly pointed out. And, you know, our reporters on the ground are the only ones we will trust at this time. What does this do? What are the BCCI's options? Can they appeal something like this? How would that go down?
Yes, BCCI has the option. I mean, I'll ask this question from Boria as well. Can BCCI, there is a news by PTI that BCCI has appealed against the Surya's penalties and all. Can they do it? I mean, what is the law? What can they do about it?
They certainly can appeal, but wait for the release. You know, all of what you are hearing is hearsay. Is hearsay.
Correct.
Somebody is telling me 30%, somebody has told me 50%.
15%, correct.
Somebody has also said 15% for Surya, somebody has said 30%.
Correct.
Somebody has said Sahib Zada Farhan just away with a warning, so that he went and said this is Pathan celebration. I mean, if my celebration is beyond the law, then I'll still be pulled up, right? So all I'm trying to say is, whatever you are hearing is still hearsay. Wait for the official release. But yes, if a player, and I'm using the word if with a lot of discretion, if a player is pulled up and penalized, that means the player is found guilty. Whether reprimand, whether fine, whether whatever, correct? If that is the case, then Naqvi has to be pulled up. Naqvi cannot escape this scot-free. And that is a fair point, because a chairman or a president abusing this means that on the final day, the player will know that I've got the license to do this from my chairman, from my president. I will do whatever. And on that day of the final, day after tomorrow, anything can happen in Dubai. I'm concerned, I'm scared, I'm very conscious of what I'm saying, that fans of two sides have reached a flashpoint. If something happens, Mr. Naqvi will be responsible.
This is a very, very, very ominous point that Boria is making, and rightfully so, that things are at a troubling pitch already. The mood is hostile. We saw it in the last match as well. And the possibility of things spiraling out of control is very much there. And Mohsin Naqvi will have blood on his hands if something untoward is to happen. Boria and Vimal, continue to stay with me. Ayaz Memon, Martan Jha, both well-known veteran sports journalists are with me live as well. Mr. Memon, welcome. Your reading, your analysis of this news break right now, sir. The information is still a little hazy, but the agencies are reporting that there is a fine to be imposed on Sky. He's been held guilty in that hearing for dedicating that victory to the Pahalgam victims and the armed forces. How do you see this, sir?
Couple of things, Shiv. I've just heard Boria, explain what is going on in Dubai, and I go with him that till the official press release is out from the ICC, let's not jump the gun and say this has happened, that has happened, because that could be hearsay and it could be very misleading. what is clearly there is a crisis brewing. The crisis is brewing because they've been hauled up. The players concerned from India, Surya Kumar Yadav, the captain from Pakistan, Haris Rauf, and Farhan, whatever his name is. So, I forget his name. Sahibzada Farhan. So, obviously, there is an investigation of sorts going on by Richie Richardson, who's the match referee and the ICC representative there. What is kind of, is disappointing is that this contest between India and Pakistan, in fact, this entire tournament has plummeted from being a cricketing encounter into everything else except cricket. The attention has just shifted completely away from the cricket. And otherwise it would have been a broadcaster's bonanza. 3 matches in the tournament featuring India and Pakistan would have been like a godsend for the broadcasters.
Yeah.
It might still be, but it's just brought so much bad blood and bad vibes along with it, that what we have seen is theatrics which have been distasteful. So from it just takes the importance of sport away from what we have been expected to see in this tournament. Now I hope whatever the adjudication by the ICC, we have to ensure that this is going to be the final on Sunday, where tempers might run high. Certainly, the heat is going to be enormous in the players, in the stands, and nothing untoward happens, because this is a match between two teams and players of both teams. And a lot of the drama, the surround drama that happens in an Indo-Pak clash has nothing to do with the players themselves, intrinsically. It's nothing to do with the players. They're out there to play. Both teams have gone there to play a match. And therefore, I think the attention should come back to cricket. That should be the ICC's aim, including, I would say, the ICC talking to Mohsin Naqvi, who's the ACC chairman. He's like the head of the tournament. So he should not be kind of being provocative for whatever reason he wants to be.
Oh, he's
Maybe
been saying very. You're right. You're right, Mr. Memon. He's been saying very, very provocative things. And Boria's point is, how come no action is being taken against him, and will he be responsible if something untoward were to happen in the stadium during that final on Sunday? Martand, welcome. Your view of these actions that are reporting. Just a quick disclaimer once again that this is still a story in motion. The details are not out and fixed yet. We are awaiting an ICC statement that is expected to come at any time. But at this point, it seems clear that some kind of punitive action has been taken. A fine is likely to be imposed on Sky. Martand, your view?
I'm always of the view that India and Pakistan, whenever they play, it has always sort of caused some kind of diplomatic activity. I have been writing on cricket diplomacy since last 1 decade. My view is India should not have, even played this tournament, has pulled out of the Asia Cup. Because I always suspected when you dance with the devil is going to do something to you. So my view was always consistent. The government's line is that, when we play with the multilateral tournaments, we have to play Pakistan. But previously, back in the day, we used to pull out of the Asia Cup tournaments. If you look at the history of the Asia Cup, this time also a lot of voices came that India should pull out or India should play. There are always two strands in that. See, if things would have went in a smoother manner, no debate would have happened. But now, because things have reached such lower levels, where Boria Majumdar was talking about how things could pan out day after tomorrow, when 25,000 people are going to be in the stadium, it can create a huge, ruckus. Of course, India and Pakistan are playing in a third nation, right? So if the citizens of both nations create any kind of ruckus, it is going to bring bad name to both the countries. I don't care about what happens to Pakistan, but I certainly care about the self-image of Indians, right? If somebody is going to provoke you unnecessarily, if somebody is going to throw stones at you, if somebody is going to hurl abuses at you, you have to do something, right? At this point in time, I want to say that government of India needs to step in, right? I want to say that if government of India, Ministry of External Affairs, all need to carefully see what is going to happen in the next 2 days. Because, see, India and Pakistan, we don't necessarily have to play. My argument is, South Africa was barred, because of the apartheid regime. My argument is, how come a Pakistan which, backs terrorists day in and day out, How is that different from an apartheid regime in South Africa?
No, I agree,
For
but
instance,
Martan, now now we're in it, and the final is going to happen on Saturday. One has to wonder what can happen between now and then. In fact, we've got a important piece of breaking news coming in from our sports editor Rika Roy, who says that the ICC may not actually put out a statement, Mr. Memon. They may not put out a statement before the final, which is in some ways understandable as well. Maybe they've taken cognizance of the mood right now and the possible fallout. Before I go back to Mr. Memon, Rika Roy is with me live with this important piece of breaking news. Rika, the ICC may be holding on before they make a statement till the final. Tell us why that is.
Well, Shiv, they are waiting and watching the scenario right now as it plays out. As Boria also mentioned on the show, things are on the knife's edge, really. And there could be a lot of tension between the India-Pakistan fans. There could be a lot of tension in the stadium. If a release that goes out, that is going to incite both the sets of fans. They're really waiting and watching. And this is not the first time that ICC has done something like this. A diplomatic crisis was averted back in 2007 also, when we all covered the Monkey Gate incident in Australia, and there was a plane waiting for the Indian cricket team to be picked up from Australia and brought back home if things didn't go their way. So this is not the first time that we are covering a diplomatic row on cricket field, and ICC has always been very cautious in such circumstances. It doesn't want to incite fans. They are waiting and watching, and they are constantly telling us that that we are reporting about fines, we are reporting about sanctions, but there will be much more in the press release, because as we speak, they are also speaking to other sets of people, which are the people who are other than the players as well, because there are officials involved in this as well. So we really have to wait and see how detailed is that release and what it really does to the India-Pakistan relations going forward.
Ayaz Memon, how do you read this piece of breaking news that's coming in right now? That the ICC wishes to wait until the final, perhaps, before they put out a detailed statement on what action they've taken?
Well, I would give it a lot of credence. I mean, we'll have to still wait and see what happens, what actually transpires till Sunday. But I think the ICC would be wanting, or the ACC, the host of the tournament, would be wanting to buy time, because, it's a standoff, it's a flashpoint that has been reached. And, whatever one does, you'll find that there'll be lots of pros and cons will be attached to it. And I think the attempt will be to make sure that the final takes place. It's in Dubai, so therefore the law of that emirate is fairly strict, or very strict. I don't think there'll be too much happening in the stands between the fans. I think there'll be enough cops around to take care of that. Outside of the stadium also, I would imagine that there'll be more security people put in place. But it's what happens on the ground, between the two teams, that is of utmost importance. So that's where it has reached, this flashpoint. So whatever one does now, there will be a response from the Indian side and there'll be a response from the Pakistan side. And I think the attempt will be to make sure that it doesn't reach a situation where there is no final. Now, if it is the worst case scenario, it could be that there is no match, but that would be an extreme situation. I think really the job is of the ICC to be a little more assertive, ensure that what it sets out as its vision for holding multinational tournaments comes through very clearly and quickly in this situation. This has reached a flashpoint over a period of 8-10 days. I think maybe they could have stepped in a little earlier. Maybe they have. It's not worked out. Maybe there's parlays going on. But whatever it is, I think the focus now should be to ensure that Sunday's final is event-free, hassle-free, and is played as a cricket match for the title.
I want to ask about Mohsin Naqvi, the ACC chief, and the tweets that he has put out. Martan,
yes.
the ICC can take action against him. He has been, I don't want to use the word that I want to use. People have been all saying all sorts of things about the Pakistanis right now, but India is a sober country. I want to be professional about this. He is the ACC president. He's not some, gali ka gunda as far as this thing is concerned. He's an administrator. He has a responsibility. And as you rightly pointed out, the mood and the emotions between India and Pakistan right now ahead of this final, anything can spiral out of control. It's a responsibility. And as an ACC president, should there be action taken against him? And I'm going to put out some of his posts on our screen in just a moment.
See, of course there should be. My only argument is people who man up PCB, people who man up PCB, who went and go on to become heads of the administration, they have a lot of responsibility. But I don't think they don't even realize what their responsibilities are. Surya Kumar Yadav was very much right in attributing whatever he attributed in the press conference. This happened after Operation Sindhu. Of course, people are going to get emotional. Cricketers are also ultimately the citizens of a nation state, right? So if I'm feeling certain way, you are feeling certain way, a cricketer is also one of us. He's a representative, a kind of a soft power ambassador for one of us, speaking for us. So if PCB makes certain comments and the chairman shares certain tweets which are, I would say, frivolous, which are provocative, then ICC needs to step in. ICC needs also to, codify certain rules for
Yeah.
people who are manning up these bodies. If, let's say, I write something, you write something, we don't have that much credence as much as a PCB chairman would have. His words would carry more value, right? In a democratic setup or on any social media platform, of course, we say that democratization of voices means every voice is
Yeah,
equal.
yeah.
But officially and from a legal standpoint of view, if you make certain laws, especially against people who man up the administration, that would bring a lot of change. Because we can debate this, all day long till cows come back home. But things are not going to change unless those are codified rules, unless they're codified rules and
Got it.
regulations.
I know, I agree, and there's plenty of selectivity doing the rounds, despite plenty of rules and regulations already existing. Rika, one final word from you. So it looks like the ICC won't be putting out a statement until the final, security, mood, protocol, etc. Maybe maybe reasons for that. But what are you hearing from your sources within the BCCI, within the Indian side? How are they looking at all these developments?
Well, BCCI is backing Surya Kumar Yadav, and they will continue to back Surya Kumar Yadav because they feel what the captain has said is right, and it is within his powers to say what he feels. Because in sports, there are many instances where the captains, where important players have gone and lodged their protest on the sports field. So that's their line of argument, that a captain can go out and lodge his protest and speak his mind too. He has not said anything unparliamentary to the opposition or anything that attracts disrepute. BCCI is completely backing Surya Kumar Yadav. They are going to mount a challenge to whatever decision that is going to come. We'll really have to wait and see what is the decision. But Shiv, I am very convinced that ICC will show some kind of restraint at this moment because they know that the situation has really gone out of control when it comes to matters between the two countries. As Ayaz mentioned, they would want the final match to go on and not one of the teams to fly out ahead of the match and ahead of the final and the tournament completely be abandoned. So that's not a situation that ICC wants, because at the end of the day, Shiv, as we were debating the other night, it is not just cricket, it is cricket, politics and commerce there. So ICC is mindful of that angle as well.
Before I say goodbye to everyone, this is what Mohsin Naqvi of Pakistan, president of the ACC, the PCB, a minister in Pakistan, this is what he put out on his social media. Shameless man, but this is what it is. So remember that if violence takes place during that final, remember the name Mohsin Naqvi when you watch what happens on Sunday. Special coverage here on NDTV begins right now, all across tomorrow and the day after, in the build-up to the Sunday evening clash between India and Pakistan. We're calling it the Grudge Final, and that really is a suitable name. So I'd like to thank all of our guests for being with us tonight here on India Matters. Coverage, 360-degree view of both the cricket, the tensions, as well as all the politics around it begins right now on NDTV. Thanks for watching. And remember that cricket is not just a sport in this country, it is also an emotion. But now that the players have lined up, they're stacked up to go head-to-head for a record third time in this tournament, Asia Cup 2025. The big question is, will politics, will sentiment, will emotions subsume the glory of a simple cricket match, or has that ship sailed already? These are big questions that always turn up when India goes head-to-head with Pakistan, no matter which way you look at it. But the words of people like Mohsin Naqvi and others have made this much more than just a cricket match. There is security to worry about, there is mood to worry about, there is emotions to worry about, and these things have become untoward many times in the past. Whose hands will any potential blood be on is a question we'll be looking at very closely. Very quick break, back with much more.
फिनेसा विंडोज, ब्यूटीफुल एंड ड्यूरेबल डिजाइन्स, इंस्टॉलेशन से मेंटेनेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर सर्विस। आपके घर में फिनेस्टा नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए।
फाइनर फिनेस्टा।
सैल्यूट है जी, आप देश की रक्षा में जान लगा देते हैं।
और आप
घर घर में तार लगाते हैं जी। ई बीम टेक्नोलॉजी से बनी, न जले न पिघले, सबकी रक्षा करे।
हम सरहद पर लोगों की रक्षा करते हैं और आप देश के अंदर। सैल्यूट तो बनता है जी।
अपार अनुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर, अपार देश का तार।
फिनेसा विंडोज, ब्यूटीफुल एंड ड्यूरेबल डिजाइन्स, इंस्टॉलेशन से मेंटेनेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर सर्विस। आपके घर में फिनेस्टा नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए।
फाइनर फिनेस्टा।
बहू, आज जो कुछ हमारे पास है सब इनकी देन है। एक अगरबत्ती की दुकान से इतना बड़ा बिजनेस खड़ा किया है।
प्रणाम दादाजी।
दादाजी, ये तो पुष्पा अगरबत्ती के मालिक हैं, घनश्याम दास। इनके स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्ट किया था, इसीलिए आज ये सब कुछ है।
जो आगे की सोचते हैं ग्रो करते हैं। डाउनलोड ग्रो फॉर स्टॉक्स, म्यूचुअल फंड्स एंड आईपीओ।
और ये कौन सी कंपनी के मालिक हैं?
ये तो दादाजी हैं।
प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
फिनेसा विंडोज, ब्यूटीफुल एंड ड्यूरेबल डिजाइन्स, इंस्टॉलेशन से मेंटेनेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर सर्विस। आपके घर में फिनेस्टा नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए।
फाइनर फिनेस्टा।
Well, we're on an incredible piece of Indian engineering. Shiv and I are absolutely privileged to be here with Larsen & Toubro in Hazira near Surat. This is a tank. It's called the Zorawar. It takes the battle to the Chinese in altitudes upwards of 15,000 feet.
You know, Vishnu, it's actually incredible that for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude, a country didn't know until it had another war on its hands that it needed a tank like the Zorawar.
No, you're
that's
right.
the kind of tank we're sitting on.
You're absolutely right. Now, India does have a history of light tanks.
Yeah.
We've had the Sherman tank, pushed up the Zojila Pass in 1948. We've had the AMX light tank. We've had the PT-76. But they want Indian.
Yeah.
This is an Indian tank for a new modern Indian requirement. And it stands out as the best tank of its class, possibly in the world.
There are tanks like the T-15, which the Chinese deployed in Ladakh during the standoff. There is the Sprut, which is a Russian tank, which the Russians have been offering us, hoping that India will buy it along with all the other Russian weapons. But the Indian Army and the Indian government took a decision that this was a requirement that needed to be met here in India. And that's the reason why, we use the phrase mission mode, Vishnu, which is building a weapon system like the Zorawar in response to a live threat or a live combat situation, which is what Eastern Ladakh really is. And that's the reason why Vishnu and I sitting here on the Zorawar means so much, Vishnu. This is the actual tank that was there in the mountains.
And this was a tank.
In President Trump's effort to make America great again, he's been firing in several different directions. One of those that pertains to India, possibly most aggressively in the last couple of days, has been Trump's crackdown on H-1B visas. He says no more free rides for outsiders. But then very quickly, the White House had to clarify and say that the $100,000 fee is not an annual one. It will only be for new visas, not existing ones. And now, days of chaos and confusion and anxiety for Indians on the H-1B visa in the US and back here on holiday, it was finally time to breathe a sigh of relief. But the trouble is not over, because the H-1B dragon will still be on our backs. This is an NDTV Focus special documentary.
Every year, millions around the world dream of cracking the American dream. A few thousand make it. Many thousands keep trying to get hold of an American visa that would take them to the land of opportunity. For that dream alone, the H-1B visa is the most in demand of the various US work visa options that offer foreign professionals a path to work in the United States. The H-1B visa is not a one-way dream. It is a two-way street that opens up access to global talent for American companies as well. President Trump of the United States of America set the cat amongst the pigeons when he signed a proclamation requiring employers to pay a hefty $100,000 fee for new H-1B petitions. It applied to foreign nationals outside the US as of the effective date and wanting to come to work in the US. The proclamation made it clear that such foreign nationals would not be able to enter the US until their employer paid up the $100,000 fee. This was one proclamation that 12,000 kilometers away from Washington, D.C. managed to set off a collective what the of confusion in India. An Emirates flight out of San Francisco International Airport got delayed by 3 hours. Reportedly, several Indian passport holders disembarked the flight just minutes before takeoff. These passengers had just got the news of what Trump had done, and they were fearful of leaving the US. Chaos followed the H-1B proclamation. Tech firms in the US advised staff on H-1B visas not to travel outside the country. People who had gone abroad to their home countries scrambled to book flights back to the US before the cutoff date. Big firms across the US with sizable overseas workers had their lawyers work overtime to decode Trump's latest disruption.
We think it's going to be very successful. Essentially, we're having people come in, people that in many cases, I guess, are very successful or whatever, and they're coming in, they're going to spend a lot of money to come in, they're going to pay as opposed to walking over the borders, and they may come from jails, prisons, and everything else. These people don't. They're very productive people, and they're going to pay $1 million. The corporation's going to pay $2 million, and it's going to raise billions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars, which is going to go to reduce taxes, pay off debt, and other good things.
So what is this H-1B visa? The H-1B visa is a non-immigrant visa that allows US employers to temporarily employ foreign workers in specialty occupations. These occupations typically require a bachelor's degree or equivalent in a specific field. Websites that cater to foreign aspirants list the key points of the H-1B visa as understood by the US administration. 1. Specialty occupation. The position must require theoretical and practical application of specialized knowledge, typically requiring at least a bachelor's degree. 2. Employer sponsorship. A US employer must sponsor the foreign worker and file the necessary petitions with US Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS. 3. Annual cap. There is an annual limit of new H-1B visas with a lottery system if demand exceeds the cap. 4. Lottery system. There is a lottery system if demand exceeds the cap. That system randomly selects which petitions will be processed. 5. Duration. H-1B status is initially granted for 3 years but can be extended. 6. Dual intent. Holders can intend to immigrate permanently while on H-1B visa. During his first term, Trump had described the H-1B program as very, very bad for American workers.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
A few months before his first term ended in 2020, he had been able to ban H-1B visas, but the ban was overturned by a federal court. Ironically, despite what Donald Trump decrees, it is the US employer who reaps the benefit of the H-1B visa. It is the H-1B that has given US firms access to a global pool of highly skilled talent. It fills skill gaps in the US workforce, and it allows them to remain competitive in a global market. The H-1B pipeline for 3 decades powered the American dream for millions of Indians and also supplied the lifeblood of talent to US industries. It was a pipeline that reshaped both countries. For India, the H-1B became a vehicle of aspiration. Small-town coders turned into dollar earners. Families vaulted into the middle class, and entire industries, from airlines to real estate, catered to a new class of first-generation globe-trotting Indians. In the US, this infusion of talent filled labs, hospitals, and tech startups. Today, Indian-born executives run some of the top multinational companies based out of the US. Companies like Google, Microsoft, and IBM. Indian doctors make up nearly 6% of the US physician workforce, and most of them went on an H-1B. No wonder then that Indians dominate the H-1B program. Indian recipients make up more than 70% of the total in recent years. China is a distant second, making up about 12% of beneficiaries. In tech, Indian presence is even higher, as over 80% of computer jobs went to Indian nationals. In 2023, more than 8,200 H-1Bs were approved to work in general medicine and surgical hospitals. And India is the largest single source of international medical graduates, who make up about 22% of all international doctors. It is estimated that Indian H-1B holders likely account for around 6% of all the doctors in the US.
United States is 3 times larger than India, has 1/4 the population. This number one must never forget. So in terms of pure growth and opportunity, US will continue to need people. They will need immigrants. The challenge right now is going on is what kind of people? That is what is required, what people must understand. And that's the battle which Mr. Trump is trying to do, is that I don't want to have illegal immigrants. I want to have top quality people.
The H-1B visa was introduced as part of a series of visa reforms that the US introduced in 1990 under President George H.W. Bush. It was meant to let companies hire foreign workers with specialized skills for up to 6 years in the US. Within the US, critics have argued that it is misused by recruitment firms to bring in workers at wages lower than what companies would have to pay US employees. The fallout to that would be that it not only scams the system, but it also takes away jobs that would have otherwise gone to Americans.
The very, very big tech companies have been known to overflood the lottery system with a very large number of applications, knowing fully well the larger number they have, the more the chances of some of them coming through. The employment has been tied to the company which has sponsored you. It will get even more tied now with that huge $100,000 fee. And that is perhaps a very modern day slave kind of labor mentality where, you can't leave a firm because that firm is the one which has sponsored you.
For the Indian techie, the current minimum annual salary of $60,000 that companies are supposed to pay H-1B visa recipients is a good deal. But if the same company were to hire a US tech worker, they would have had to pay $100,000 or more for the same job. And therein lies the heart of the H-1B problem.
If I was looking at it from an American point of view, I think the biggest shortcoming has been that it has prevented homegrown technological skills of the kind they have been able to import from outside. I don't think the H-1B visa was introduced with the intention of lowering domestic wage, but it has definitely resulted to some extent in the lowering of domestic wage. Now, if we are trying to curtail H-1B visa to tackle this problem, then I don't think it's the right answer. If the lowering of domestic wage was the problem, I mean, it's very simple. You can always get those wages to be increased.
Historically, Indian technology companies have brought the most employees holding H-1B visas to the US, taking the top 4 spots between 2009 and 2025. According to US Citizenship and Immigration Services (USCIS) data, between 2009 and June 30th, 2025, Tata Consultancy Services, an Indian multinational IT and consulting firm based in Mumbai, received the most H-1B visas, 98,259. Cognizant, born in India's Chennai in the 1990s but now a US company, is in second place with 92,435 visas. Infosys, with its headquarters in Bengaluru, comes next with 87,654 visas. Wipro, also based out of Bengaluru, is in fourth place with 77,289 H-1B visas. Between 2015 and 2025, TCS, Cognizant and Infosys remained in the top 3 spots, but the 4th and 5th places were taken over by US technology giants Microsoft and Google. Since 2020, the shift has been more dramatic, with US tech company Amazon topping the list and Google and Microsoft taking 4th and 5th spots. The latest data points to a breakdown very different from what it was a decade ago. In the first 6 months of 2025, H-1B visa recipients are dominated by US tech, banking, consulting, and retail firms like Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Google, JP Morgan Chase, Walmart, and Deloitte. TCS is the only Indian company in the top 10, as is Cognizant with its Indian roots. India's IT sector earns close to 60% of its revenue from the United States, and there is a feeling this latest H-1B change will disrupt a long-standing practice of rotating skilled talent into US-based projects. While in the short term it is India that will feel the impact, the longer-term negative impact will be on the US. A lot of work is expected to shift out of America, with companies relying on remote contracting and offshore delivery rather than bearing the cost of high sponsorship.
Yes, India does get affected. I see a change coming about in that component of tech jobs and medical scientific jobs. But the impact per se, I see far greater, at least in the short run, on the US tech companies, the US medical companies, especially those which involves a very high level of scientific research. They are the ones which have been benefiting from Indian skilled personnel. The impact would be far more on the US, where it will take time to nurture talent, if that is the basic objective.
I guess what he's trying to do is get companies to hire fewer, more advanced professionals from overseas and take the kids we got coming out of school here and train them. That's not so easy to do when we're talking about professionals like engineers and software programmers, doctors. So I think this is not a great idea. We don't really have an unemployment problem at all when it comes to professionals. Adult professionals have an unemployment rate of below 4%. So companies really don't have any Americans to hire when it comes to this level of professionalism, education, expertise.
Indian companies had been wary of Trump and his decrees, and sensing the wind during Trump's first term, top Indian companies which recruit foreign talent for US jobs began hiring more Americans. Yet Indian tech majors continued to face questions over their hiring practices in the US. But then, Indian firms are not the only ones that have been accused of discrimination in